Part 6. Semester Foyan. Just this. Consider the case of Grandmaster Maestro Ma. Seeing a monk going downstairs, the maestro called to him, "O worthy!" When the monk turned his head, the maestro said, "From birth till death, it's just this person. Why turn your head and remove your brains? Or revolve your brains." That monk understood the essential message of these words. What is the logic of this? From birth to death, it's just this person. Tell me, what person is it? As soon as you arouse the intention to see this person, when you do not see this person, or then you do not see this person. This person is hard to see. Very, very hard. People today simply say, "This is this person. Who else is there?" There couldn't be any other. 99 out of 100 understand in this way. What grasp have they? If you interpret in this way, how can you understand the matter of from birth till death? How can you immediately see it as just this person? If you do not see this person, you have no idea how your mortal being will end up. What about this lecturing and listening now? Excuse me. Is there actually lecturing and listening? Or is there no lecturing and listening? If you say you are standing there while I'm sitting here, I am lecturing and you are listening. Any villager can say such things. How can you call yourself Zenists? If you say there's no lecturing and no listening, still he made the statement from birth to death, it is just this person. Therefore, when you do get to this point, you need to find a realized individual to discern precisely. Before I had understood, I was totally helpless, so I asked of my teacher. As soon as I asked a question, my teacher would just say, "I don't understand, I don't know, I'm not as good as you." Well, I also asked if Zen is ultimately easy to learn or hard to learn. He just told me, "You're all right. Why are you asking about difficulty and ease?" Learning Zen is called a gold and dung phenomenon. Before you understand it, it's like gold. When understood, it's like dung. I didn't accept this at the time, but now that I've thought it over, although the words are coarse and the message in them is not shallow, these are examples of how perfectly realized people never utter a single word or half a phrase without a purpose. Whenever you try to help others, they never give random, or whenever they try to help others, they never give random instructions, and they do not approve people arbitrarily. Nowadays, there are teachers all over who sometimes speak correctly and sometimes speak without a grasp. Why? Because they have not yet attained perfect realization. Sometimes they approve people and say they are right, and then sometimes they say they are not right. How is it possible to clarify from birth till death it's just this person in such a manner? When you look closely, you see that people of the present are none other than the people of yore, and the functions of the present are none other than the functions of the past. Even going through 1,000 changes and a myriad transformations, here is just necessary for you to understand it firsthand before you can attain it. The reason people today cannot attain it is just because they do not know how to distinguish it with certitude. How is it that they cannot distinguish it with certainty? They just make up interpretations of ancient sayings, boring into them subjectively. If you do this, you will never understand. Why? I tell you, if you turn your head and revolve your brains, you're already wrong. The most economical way here is to save energy, not asking about this and that, but clearly apprehending it in the most direct manner. You people first came forth with rationalizations, using ancient sayings to wrap and bind yourself. It's like scattering a handful of dirt on a clean surface. I have told you that you should not come here now as you were before. You must attain an understanding before this is possible. Some say, I was just so before, and I am just so now. Right away you run into emotional consciousness. How can I blame you? The ancients were so compassionate as to tell you, walking is Buddha walking, sitting is Buddha sitting, all things are Buddha teaching, all sounds are Buddha's voice. You have misunderstood, supposing that all sounds are actually the voice of Buddha and all forms are really forms of Buddha. Since it is not admissible to understand it this way, then what would be right? I tell you, the instant you touch upon signals, you're already alienated. When you want to manifest it by means of the light of knowledge, you've already obscured it. Now, don't hold on to my talk. Each of you do your own work independently. You may contemplate the stories of the ancients, you may sit quietly, or you may watch attentively everywhere. All of these are ways of doing the work. Everywhere is the place for you to attain realization. But concentrate on one point for days and months on end, and you will surely break through. When Guling returned from his journey, his mentor asked him, You left me to go traveling. What did you attain? Guling said, I saw Bazang and attained peace and bliss. Then he quoted a verse by Bazang. The spiritual light, shining independently, transcends the senses and objects. The essence is revealed, real and eternal, not confined to written words. The nature of mind has no stain. It is basically complete of itself. Just detach from false mental objects and be enlightened to be as is. I sure hope you guys could have heard the whole thing. I bet you did, though. On hearing these words, the old mentor realized enlightenment. Also, Master Zafing, upon seeing a breeze stirring taro leaves, pointed them out to a student. The student said, I'm quite frightened. Zafing clucked his tongue and said, It's an event in your own house. Why are you afraid? That student then had an awakening too. There must be something mystical and ghostly about the wind stirring taro leaves that we're lacking in cultural reference. But the point is, it is an event in your own house. Why are you afraid? And then that student had an awakening. Since the whole time as an event in your own house, since the whole time is an event in your own house, why don't you understand? Because you wander off everywhere. You are not at home all the time. But now that you're facing a teacher, don't let yourself forget. This is called acting according to reason, knowing the ultimate within oneself. From birth to old age, it's just this person. Why turn your head and revolve your brains? Each of you look into this on your own. Keep evolving. If you have just now understood, what is that which you couldn't understand before? If you can't understand now, when will you understand? Just examine over and over in this way, and you should come to understand. That is why it is said, what you misunderstood before is what you now understand. What you now understand is what you have misunderstood before. It is also said, when light comes, darkness vanishes. When knowledge comes into play, confusion is forgotten. But can it actually be so? How can it be so? That would mean there is darkness to be destroyed, and then there is confusion to be removed. Have you not read the ancient saying, don't change the former person, just change the former behavior? You Zen followers say, what is the difficulty? Misunderstanding is just this person, and understanding is just this person. There can be no other. But then, when asked what is this person, you are helpless, or else you talk at random. This is because of not having attained true, accurate realization. This is a disease that has merely entered your bone and marrow. People in error attach recognition to a lifetime of cessation. Indeed, they stop, not only for one lifetime, but for 1,000 lifetimes, myriad lifetimes. As for the spiritually sharp, they should know how to experientially investigate who this person is, directly seeking an insight. Whew. Buddhism today is lackluster. Even in large groups, it's hard to find suitable people. As long as you people are here studying the path at this school, you should not waste the 24 hours of day focusing on attaining insight. Or focus on attaining insight. You people are still not far off. Have you not read how Master Linchi said, there is a true person of no rank in the naked mass of flesh, always going out and coming in through the doors of your senses. Those who haven't witnessed it, look. At that time, a student came forward and said, what is the true person of no rank? Linchi got out of his chair, grabbed the student, and said, speak, speak. The student hesitated, trying to think of something, so Linchi pushed him away. Linchi also said, your eyes radiate a light that shines through the mountains and rivers. The ancients were so compassionate, yet people today don't take it to heart, so they need to look for someone to find certainty. Have you not read how Yantu, Zifeng, and Jin Shan went to see Lin Chi, then met Elder Ding on the way? Yantu asked, where are you coming from? Ding said, from Lin Chi. Yantu inquired, is the teacher well? Dang said, the teacher has passed away. Yantu said, we came specially to pay respects to the teacher Lin Chi, but now we hear he has passed away. We do not know what he said. Please quote an example or two of his sayings. Ding then cited the foregoing story about Lin Chi's saying, there is a true person of no rank in the mass of naked flesh, always going out and coming in through the doors of your senses. Those who have not witnessed it, look! The student came forward and asked what the true person of no rank is. Linchi got out of his chair, grabbed the student, and said, speak, speak. When the student hesitated, trying to think of something to say, Linchi pushed him away and said, what a dry turd the true person of no rank is. Then Linchi went back to his quarters. Hearing this recital, Yantu was stunned. Jin Shan remarked, well, why didn't he say, in the mass of naked flesh there is not a true person of no rank? Ding grabbed him and said, tell me, how far apart are the true person of no rank and the not true person of no rank? Speak quickly. Jin Xing's face paled, then clouded. Yantu and Xing Feng both said, please forgive this novice for insulting you, elder. Ding remarked, if it hadn't been for you two old guys, I'd have punched this little bedwetter out. When Ginseng said, "Not a true person of no rank," why did Ding not agree? How can students today reach such a state? They just recognize the mortal body and forcibly act as if they are in charge, unable to let go of it. Now I will cite some stories for you to consider. Zuifeng called on Taozi, and asked, "Is there anyone to call on here?" Taozi threw down his hoe. Zuifeng said, "Well, then I'll dig right where I am." And Taozi said, "Dullard." Even though he said he would dig right where he was still called a dullard. When Great Elder Nanji met Zifeng, their conversation was in complete accord. Zifeng sent him to see Zhang Sha. Zhang Sha asked, "An ancient said, 'Only I can know this. How do you understand?' Nanji said, 'You should realize there is someone who does not seek to know.' Zhang Sha said, 'You are a great elder. Why go to so much trouble?' What is the logic of this?" When my late teacher was in the school of Master Baidan, the master cited an ancient saying. He said, "It is like a mirror casting images. When an image is formed, where has the shine of the mirror gone?" At the time, there were a number of students in the group who offered replies, but the master did not accept any of them. In those days, my teacher was working as a fundraiser. When he came back, Baiduan cited the foregoing saying and asked him about it. My teacher approached, offered greetings, and said, "Still not far off." Baiduan clapped and laughed. Everyone thought Baiduan was pressing to make him chief fundraiser. What kind of talk is that? Here, I only require you to study the path. Your first priority, 24 hours a day, should be to get rid of unenlightened egoism toward others. Why? Egotism toward others is the business of mediocrites. Mediocrities. Okay, dude, don't be mediocre. Do your own work. My late teacher never had any egotism toward others. As his assistant, I saw quite a lot, but never saw him have a single thought of annoyance. Once, when he was at Huai, there was a certain senior monk serving as a superintendent of hospitality. When my late teacher sent a great elder to lead the community at Saihai, he had the superintendent of hospitality escort him. The senior spat in my teacher's face and said, "Who are you to tell me to escort him?" Well, he kept on with his vile talk, so my teacher finally gave up. No one knew about this. Later, when my teacher came to Taiping, he nominated that individual to be keeper of the treasury, and also made him the assembly leader. My teacher himself asked to be made superintendent of the institution, and even nominated the other for the abbacy there at Taiping. The governor did not approve of this appointment, and the superintendent reviled my teacher, saying he did not support him strongly enough. Now my teacher finally spoke out. "This fellow," he said, "has hollered at me twice, and by this we can see he has no egotism toward others." People now want to understand theoretically at once, as soon as anything is said. How can you learn the way in this fashion? Sometimes I see beginners come to interviews helpless to do anything about the fact that I have already seen through them. They are like villagers, armed with carrying poles, trying to do battle with a general. Here I am fully equipped. In my hand is a 100-pound sword of legendary warrior, while they have nothing but a carrying pole. They strike a blow, and seeing the man not move, they strike several more times and leave. It is not that I fear them. It is because they are no match for me. I urge you not to be crude-minded. In your conduct, day and night, keep evolving higher. Even if you do not attain enlightenment, you will surely be a highly refined individual. Be sure to be attentive. I said there's 20 minutes. This one's kind of short, and this one's kind of interesting. Let's just keep being on. Approval. As soon as you accept and approve anything, recognizing it as your own, you are immediately bound hand and foot and cannot move. So even if there are 1,000 possibilities, nothing is right once you have recognized, accepted, and approved it as your own. It is like making a boat and outfitting it for a long journey to a land of treasures. Then, as soon as you get started, you drive a stake into the ground and tie the boat down, and then row with all your might. You may row till the end of time, but you will still be at the shore. You see the boat moving from side to side and think you're on the move, but actually you haven't gotten anywhere. It is also like someone turning a millstone, going round and round in circles from morning until night. What a laugh! If someone whose eyes are unclear saw you fixated on recognition and told you it was right, he'd have been seen through by someone with clear eyes. On examination, there would be quite a few loose ends. These days, quite a few just employ this path of right now, totally unable to get out of that immediate present. Nailed down in this way, they try to study Zen without getting the essential point. Once they've taken it up, they've already misunderstood. Acting as if they were in charge, they do not realize that Buddhism is not understood in this way. Have you not read how Magoo met Zhang Jing, staff in hand? Magoo took the staff once and stood there serenely. Zhang Jing said, "Yes!" He also met Nangquan in the same way, and Nangquan said, "No!" Magoo said, Zhang Jing said yes. How can you say no? Nangquan said, Zhang Jing is right, but you were wrong. This is inevitable, or this is but you are wrong. This is vulnerable to outside influences and ultimately disintegrates. Only then Magoo see his error. Look, people, if you're about to misunderstand your whole life, how can you not go to someone to find certainty? When I first went on my journey, I read verses by my teacher, and immediately believed this man spoke like the ancient sages, and must have genuine realization. So I studied with him for 10 years. One of those verses said, "To learn the way, first you must find out the ultimate point. Hearing sound and seeing form are inconceivable. If you discuss high and low based on words, it is just like before you were enlightened." And another verse said, "There is a road to emptiness. Everyone arrives. Those who arrive then realize the excellence of the aim. The mind ground does not grow useless trees and plants. Naturally, the body spontaneously radiates clear light." When I was young, even though I had not attained the way, in my heart I knew these were extraordinary lines. But how about hearing sound and seeing form? They're both conceivable. How could they be inconceivable? Then, when he talks about realization, he turns around and says, It's just like before you were enlightened. Everything before enlightenment is conceivable. How can you see a realization? This man attained non-attainment, or not yet. This man attained non-attainment. Only when you reach the ultimate stage can you be like this. Only after 10 years did I actually understand him. Generally speaking, when you go journeying to learn the path to enlightenment, you seek. Do not sit ignorantly, but go to someone and find out the truth with certainty. When this truth is hard to realize, that is called unfinished business. Have you not heard it said that once you realize, then there's a difference? Yesterday one had breakfast and dinner. Today one has breakfast and dinner. It is the same. Is it the same person as before? There is a difference. It's not the same. Jiaozhou said to someone, "Have you had breakfast yet?" He said, "Yes." Jiaozhou said, "Go wash the dishes." This is different. Do you suppose I'm an ordinary man? You tell me where the difference is. Alright. That's good. We're good. Alrighty.